All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever felt like your AI workflow is just stuck, like you're constantly fighting with it, you're in the right place. We've been digging through what some of the top power users on YouTube are doing, and we're going to show you how to completely change your game. The secret? It's all about getting your AI out of the browser and into the terminal.
And this quote from Network Chuck, man, it just hits home, right? It perfectly captures that shared frustration we've all felt. That feeling of being totally bogged down by a million tabs, losing your conversations, and having a workflow that just feels broken. But the good news is, there is a much, much better way.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, that's probably what you're used to. The browser experience, it's a total mess, right? Scattered chats, constantly having to remind the AI what you're talking about, and that endless, soul-crushing copy/paste hell. But on the right, that's the promise of the terminal. Everything in one project, context that sticks around, and direct access to all your files. It is literally the difference between chaos and control. So here's how we're going to get you there. First, we'll talk about the browser trap and why it's so bad. Then, we'll unlock your terminal superpower. After that, we'll get into the specifics of working like a pro. And then, we'll introduce you to AI agents, which is a total game changer. And finally, we'll talk about what it really means to own your entire workflow.
So, let's define this thing, the browser trap. You know what it is. It's that awful cycle of starting a brand new chat because the AI forgot everything from 5 minutes ago. It's juggling 5 different AI websites. It's manually moving code and text back and forth. All that friction. It's stopping us from really using AI the way it's meant to be used. It's time to break out.
Okay, so how do we break out of that trap? Well, the answer is moving into the terminal. And we're going to focus on a tool that experts like Network Chuck and Avtar are calling an absolute game changer, Claude Code. And its real superpower, it's this idea of persistent memory.
And the whole secret, the real magic, boils down to this one simple file, claude.md. This is the secret sauce. Avtar calls it the project's memory, and that's exactly what it is. It's just a text file where you dump everything the AI needs to know. The rules, the style guides, the tech you're using, and the key is it reads this file every single time so it never ever forgets.
And to make this really concrete, just look at this example. You can tell it, hey, this is an iOS app for coffee lovers. You can give it rules for how to use Git. You can specify the exact tech stack and tell it which coding style to follow. You set these rules just once, and that's it. The AI follows them from then on. No more explaining yourself over and over and over again.
All right, foundation's set. Now, let's get into the fun stuff, the pro-level workflows. This section is all about the actionable steps, the things we've learned from watching power users that are going to get you up and running like an expert like today.
So here it is, your power user starter kit. First, always make the AI give you a to-do list. That way you can see its plan before it starts working. Second, get good at switching models to use the right tool for the job. Third, force it to plan and strategize before it writes a single line of code. And fourth, and this one's a huge mindset shift from Avtar, stop micromanaging the code. Think like a product manager. Does the final result work? If yes, move on.
Let's just double-click on that model switching point for a second. You've got choices. Opus is the big brain, the heavyweight. You use that for the really tough problems. Then you've got Sonnet, which is way faster and cheaper, perfect for the day-to-day stuff. But the real pro tip, the thing that gives you the best of both worlds, is using Opus Pran mode. It uses that big, powerful brain for the strategy, and then the faster, cheaper brain for the actual work. It's just so efficient.
Okay, everything we've talked about so far is awesome. But what we're about to get into, this is the part that changes the entire game. All the experts, Network Chuck, Matt Maher, Avtar, they all agree that this one feature is what takes terminal AI from just a cool tool to a whole new way of working. Let's talk about agents. I want you to just imagine something for a second. What if your main AI, instead of trying to do everything by itself, could just delegate? What if it had a whole team of specialized assistants it could hand tasks off to, where each one is an expert in one specific thing? Well, that's exactly what agents are. So what is an agent, really? You can think of it as a custom-built AI assistant. You get to define its job, give it a unique set of instructions, and even decide what tools it's allowed to use. You're basically building your own little team of AI employees, and your main AI can call on them whenever it needs to. And this is why they're so powerful. As Matt Maurer breaks it down, each agent gets its own totally separate context window. You can give them super specific permissions, they handle tasks on their own, you can make them just for one project or available everywhere. And maybe the coolest part, The main AI just finds them and knows how to use them automatically.
You know that feeling when your AI just gets confused? That's context pollution, and this slide shows you exactly how agents fix that. Without them, every little thing you do, every search, every edit, it just clogs up your main conversation. But with agents, the main AI just says, hey, go do this. The agent spins up in a fresh, clean workspace, does its job, and your main conversation stays totally protected. It's a lifesaver for complex projects.
And if you're wondering how far you can take this, just look at this number. In one of his videos, Network Chuck spun up 10 different agents working in parallel on the same project at the same time. We're not just talking about being a little more organized here. This is a fundamental change in how fast you can get things done.
So, how does the main AI know which agent to pick for a job? It's not magic, it's actually super clever. As Matt Maher explains, the AI basically acts like a manager. It reads the job description you wrote for each agent and picks the best employee for the task. And what that means is, writing a really clear, really specific description for your agents is the most important thing you can do. Okay, so when you put all of these pieces together, the persistent memory, the pro workflows, the agents, what do you actually get? Well, you get more than just a cool tool. You get a completely new way to think about your work. You get a system that you and only you are in charge of. And this right here, this is the masterclass workflow from Avtar that just brings it all home. Using a Git feature called work trees, you can create these totally separate sandboxes for each feature you're working on. Then, you fire up a different AI instance in each one, and they all work at the same time without messing each other up. When they're all done, you just tell the AI, okay, merge it all together. This is how you do a week's worth of work in an afternoon.
And you've got to remember, even though we've been talking a lot about code, this system is for everything. Research papers, writing a book, managing a project, you name it. And the most important part is that your context, your agents, they're not locked away on some company's server. They are just text files on your machine. You own them. You are in complete control. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought from Matt Maher, because it really flips the whole thing on its head. When you start working this way, the question in your mind changes. It's no longer, okay, how do I do this task? Instead, it becomes, what is it that I want to achieve? You focus on the vision. The AI handles the how. So, what are you going to build?